Are there aliens living under our ocean? Okay, June 2021.
A senior naval officer told me there was something doing 200 miles an hour underwater.
A U.S. congressman leans into a microphone and repeats something that doesn't fit the usual Navy briefing. He says a senior naval officer told him there was something doing 200 miles an hour underwater. Press for clarity, he adds, underwater, big as a football field, and that's no fish. The one sentence turned into a headline that refuses to die. 200 miles an hour underwater. The ocean doesn't let things move that fast. Not whales, not submarines, not torpedoes, at least not the ones we're supposed to know about.
I'm Alex, and this is It Real or WTF? I'm going to keep this tight, factual, and steady. No dramatics, no clickbait, just the weight of what's been said and what's been measured. Told in a tone that knows exactly how much we don't know. So if that quote has any truth behind it, what exactly was racing through the deep? Let's start where that statement lives, in the thin zone between official comment and barstool legend. No sonar tapes, no radar plots, no video footage came with the claim. Just words repeated from memory and delivered on record, yet it wasn't some random YouTuber or a tabloid reporter saying it. It was a congressman quoting a supposed naval insider. Two layers of authority that give the story just enough weight to survive retelling.
Below the surface, though, there's a long lineage of this kind of talk. Ask enough submariners off the clock after a few drinks, we'll hear a lot about odd sonar contacts, fleeting blips that dart across the screen faster than training simulations predicted. The official term is unidentified submerged object, or USO. The unofficial one is something weird. Some say they saw an echo zip across the display in a way that didn't make sense. Others argue those fast movers come from false echoes, sound refracting through different water layers, or human error, or when the sonar geometry isn't just perfect. Either way, the story always ends the same way. Someone logs the anomaly, the watch continues, and the mystery goes back to sleep under thousands of tons of pressure. Now, to see why this matters, you have to appreciate what water does to motion. Airplanes cheat gravity because air is thin. Water, by comparison, is a wall. Drag in water rises violently with speed. Double your velocity and the resistance just doesn't double. It can multiply several times over. It's like trying to sprint through syrup. The ocean's fastest verified animals top out around 70 miles an hour. That's the black marlin, the sailfish. Those are drag racers of the sea. Sperm whales, some of the most powerful mammals alive, barely reach 30 miles an hour in a chase. And even the strongest ocean currents crawl along at just a few miles an hour. Now drop in a claim like 200 miles an hour into that environment. It just doesn't bend physics, it smashes it. Anything biological achieved that speed underwater, it would burn itself apart in seconds. Every law of hydrodynamics says so. And yet, this is where the story tightens its grip. Machines have done it. During the Cold War, engineers discovered a loophole called supercavitation. Instead of fighting drag, you remove the water entirely. You design a bullet-shaped nose that creates a gas bubble around the body, so most of it travels through vapor instead of liquid. With rocket propulsion, a weapon can scream through that bubble at over 200 knots, around 230 miles an hour. That's the principle behind the Russian Skoval torpedo, tested in the 1970s and refined over decades. Loud, limited in range, and almost impossible to steer, but they are very real. So 200 miles an hour underwater isn't science fiction. It's physics with rocket fuel. But there's a catch. A football field-size object doing that? That's not a torpedo. That's an aircraft carrier pretending to be a missile. And that's the second half of the claim. As big as a football field. For scale, that's about 360 feet. The largest confirmed single living creature on Earth, the blue whale, reaches roughly 110 feet. That's like a third of the field. Even accounting for exaggeration, you're still talking about something that's 3 times the size of a whale, moving 10 times faster. Biology says no way. But then again, biology also builds things we didn't believe until we saw them. In 2020, deep-sea researchers off Western Australia filmed an enormous siphonophore, a colonial organism composed of hundreds of specialized segments acting as one. It measured an estimated 150 feet long, half a football field. Not a single unified creature, but a network of living components coordinating through biology, a swimming architecture. Nature has a habit of out-engineering us, but at those speeds, still, reports of something massive underwater go way back. In 1967, off Shag Harbor, Nova Scotia, multiple witnesses, including some police officers, reported glowing lights descending toward the water. Search teams treated it as a crash. Divers found no wreckage, no oil slick, no debris. The Royal Canadian Air Force labeled it unidentified flying object entering the sea. Decades later, UFO researchers call it one of the most credible USO events on record. Officially, it remains unsolved. And then there's the sound. In 1997, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration recorded an ultra-low frequency noise in the Pacific Ocean loud enough to be heard thousands of miles away. Nicknamed the Bloop, it became instant fodder for alien and sea monster theories. Years later, NOAA scientists matched the acoustic fingerprint to massive ice fractures, icequakes they call them, from Antarctica. A mystery solved by context, not conspiracy. The lesson? Some ocean mysteries shrink under the microscope of better data, others only deepen. Reality check. What's true versus what's claimed. Alright, physics limits underwater motion. Sustained 200-mile-an-hour biological speed is impossible due to drag. Verified supercavitating torpedoes have reached 200 to 230 miles per hour for short distances. Blue whales averaged 100 to 110 feet in length, largest confirmed single organism. A 150-foot siphonospore was filmed in 2020 off Western Australia. Colonial, not singular. In 1997, a bloop sound identified as ice fracturing event by NOAA. Shag Harbor in 1967, officially documented as unidentified, but no evidence of wreckage or alien craft. Here's what's disputed and speculative. Congressman's quote about a 200-mile-an-hour football field-sized underwater craft has no supporting data or no sensor logs. Anecdotal sonar fast movers from Submariners lack cooperation and can be explained by refraction or instrumentation error. Claims linking USOs to extraterrestrial vehicles remain unverified and speculative. There's no scientific evidence of living creatures capable of the described speed or size. No declassified military data confirming unknown high-speed underwater objects. The distinction matters because both camps, skeptics and believers, often use the same language but different definitions of proof. The ocean doesn't care what we believe. It only responds to instruments. And so far, the instruments point toward technology or misinterpretation, not biology from beyond the stars. Now, these stories are accurate. Something extraordinary is happening beneath our oceans. At 200 miles an hour underwater, the energy output would rival rocket thrust, far beyond any natural process we know. That kind of technology would rewrite both military capability and scientific understanding overnight. Imagine submarines that could cross the Atlantic in hours, unseen. Or drones capable of crossing the Mariana Trench without leaving a trace. But if these claims are misreads or hoaxes, they still teach us something else. How easily the human brain stitches a story around a blip of noise. The ocean is a theater for pareidolia, our tendency to find meaning in the murk. A sonar ping here, a rumor there, and suddenly the abyss becomes a mirror for our imagination. And yet there's a reason the questions don't die. More than 80% of the ocean floor remains unmapped. They say the little we know of the ocean is like a glass of water dipped out of the sea. It holds a drop of ocean but cannot contain everything the ocean holds. People go, there's no fish in my glass. But it's a mistake to think that that means there are no fish in the sea. We sent probes beyond Pluto, but we can't fully image the trench off Guam. Hypothermal vents still produce new species every expedition. In the vast blind zone, the idea of alien life or unknown machines feels less like science fiction and more like open invitation.
So are there aliens living under our sea? It'd probably be easier to explain than something crossing the millions of miles of space to visit us. The numbers don't lie, though. Nothing biological moves 200 miles an hour underwater. The evidence for alien craft isn't in the data. It's in the human need to explain the unexplainable. What's left are fragments, quotes, sonar stories, open files, stamped inconclusive. The only confirmed record of that kind of speed comes from human engineering, supercavitating weapons, short-range rockets. Everything else lives in rumor, folklore, and the deep blue unknown. Still, the ocean keeps its secrets. It swallows evidence better than any ball. Until someone captures that football field-sized craft on verified instruments, we're left with two truths. The ocean's the most alien environment we know, and we've barely scratched its surface. Maybe there's nothing down there but rock, pressure, and silence. Or maybe, just maybe, the strangest life we have here on Earth hasn't looked up at us yet. Either way, keep watching the waves, because sometimes The weirdest stories don't come from outer space. They rise up right from under our feet. I'm Alex, and this is WTF. Thanks for watching.